Hey there, this is Susan Bach welcoming you to another edition of Fabulous Feature Friday. I'm super excited about the guest we have today, Miss Angelika Christie. Welcome, Angelika.
Thank you so much, Susan. I'm super excited too. And even though I have been a member of the group, I have not been very, very busy. So I'm so pleased that, I can share a little bit more about who I am and how I can serve.
Well, it's truly my pleasure to create this opportunity for each of our members because, to your point, Angelika, we get very busy and we don't often have the time to get to know one another. And these interviews, I've learned, are a great way for not only me to become better acquainted with the members of our group, but also for our members to learn about one another and how we can create even a greater sense of community and collaboration. So thank you for being who you are and for sharing your wisdom with us today.
My pleasure.
All right, so I'd like to read the introduction that you've provided because I am totally intrigued with it. And then we'll move into the questions. So, Dr. Angelika Christie helps the gritty woman over 50 in business to their kick-ass happiness. Love that. She guides her to finally let go of the attachments to anything that keeps her stuck. I'd like to read that for me. You can help me finally let go of the attachments to anything that keeps me stuck. Angelika shows her the joy and freedom to fully live as the unapologetic, untamed, and magnificent woman she is. Oh my gosh, that is so powerful. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, kick-ass happiness. And this is something that many people who have known me for very long said, oh my God, that doesn't really fit you, because they have seen me as the spiritual being. I brought Reiki to this island about 28 years ago, yoga, meditation, health, healing. And so where does this kick-ass come in? They see me as elegant and definitely not somebody who would even use this expression. But I realized for myself that after 50, after 50, when really nature throws us a curveball with menopause and everything changes in our bodies and we become a little bit of that self-worth and that natural energy and exuberance and, anything is possible, it starts to dampen a little bit and we become a little bit set in our ways because we don't really know exactly what's going to happen in the future. And so I had to create a kick-ass for myself to get myself out of that. So I said, yes, because when you become very set, if this continues, and I'm 72 now, if this continues, your roots, your habits, everything that you have created become almost like cables. And it's very difficult to uproot them and create something new. So it took myself, some kick-ass. And so I call it kick-ass happiness.
I love that, and I so agree. I'm looking at this sophisticated, elegant woman, and hearing you talk about kick-ass, there is this incongruity between the messaging and your physical appearance, and yet, for me, that's part of the appeal.
Yes, and I am sophisticated and elegant and all of this and graceful, but I'm also a rebel. I am a rebel for everything that is authentically you, and so that means to let go and get rid of all of the attachments that we have and the false beliefs and the limiting beliefs and the concepts and how things should be, how we should be, and we think we need to be in order to be accepted, to be worthy, to be loved. And this whole concept has created such a burden that I started to resist or rebel against it. And I said, this is like a chain that needs to be broken, and rules need to be broken. And we had no problems breaking rules when we were young and our teenagers or when we were kids. But the older we get, the less we believe we can break the rules. And we do need to break rules. We need to give birth of ourselves in certain periods. We all, our lives go in circles. I don't know how somebody else's life goes, but in my personal experience, my life, every 10 or 11 years, there is a tremendous push within me, unconsciously, but I feel it emotionally, even physically, that something needs to break, something needs to change, something new wants to be born. So nothing new can be born if you hold on to the old, right? So,
Right. So these attachments, what's coming to mind as I hear you talk about that, Angelika, are really the binds that keep us tangled up, that keep us small and stuck, and perhaps making decisions or having experiences that are replications of the past.
yeah.
So let's talk more about the attachments, because I think this is such a viable topic, particularly for the audience that you have today. Because in business, we're dealing with change constantly. We have to, and yet, as you mentioned, we're not as resilient or perhaps as willing to change as we have been in the past. So let's talk more about the attachments and how someone can let attachments go.
Yes, it is a realization. You need to realize what you're really holding on to. And the first issue is that we believe we are not holding on to, because we want change. So we create this ideal situation in our head. And for as long as we live in this fantasy, how things should be, it feels great, right? It really feels good. And yet, there are all of the other pictures, all of the attachments that are still there, that we don't even know that we are still holding on to, that bring themselves right back into our lives. And it's almost like, somebody has been cheated on, or a man has left you, but you still keep the picture on your nightstand, because you believe that maybe he will come back, or maybe something that just feels as if you're holding on to, even though it is painful. So why would you do that? Why would you, hold on to a picture? And this could be any picture in your mind, in your head. It could be an addiction you have. It could be something that in your business that you feel you have to achieve, but you're struggling so hard. You're hurting. There's a part of you that knows that maybe this is not for you, even though your mind has created that image that if I achieve that, then I am somebody, or then something magically will be better. But you're going against what you're clinging to something, and every time you resist something, every time you cling to something, you're in pain. You're not in alignment with the flow of life. You're holding something in place. And those are the attachments. This is a hurt that could have happened in your childhood. I mean, we all carry the seed of pain within us. We all carry wounding from the past. We also carry anxieties about the future, even though the future has not even happened yet. Why do I create anxieties about something that it hasn't even happened yet? So we do this. We have these attachments, almost like Klingons, like the Klingons. It's ugly, it's painful, but we are doing it, and we are not aware that we are doing it. So we try to change the situation, or we try to change the people, or we believe that if this happens, kind of, if it's a man that disappointed you, this. I'm going to wash that man right out of my.
I remember that song from South Pacific.
Right. So you create all of that stuff, and it feels so good. You see that, going down the drain, and you feel so great for a moment. But then the picture comes back. It's not you have had the fantasy about something, but what you have to let go of is not outside of you. And that's probably the biggest realization. It is, you have to let go of you, of that part of you that is holding on to the pain.
Angelika, can you give us one suggestion on how we can start that process of letting go of these attachments?
It is, first of all, the realization. And the more you make that, you bring your awareness to it. For example, have you ever tried water skiing?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I remember, I think I was 12. It was in Spain, and I did water skiing for the first time. And I was so serious about not to fall, that I would get up, because I have seen those people who would fall, and try again and fall, and it looked painful. I didn't want to experience that. So I said, I'm going to get up. But here you realize you have two, all the way back then, those things were big and heavy, with those rubber cups where your feet were in. And I actually got up. But then in the moment I got up, and I felt so great, and I was looking around if everybody saw that I was going up. And I think I may have even taken my hand off there and waved or so, and the ski were gone, and I was in the water. But I was holding on. I could not, I was so ashamed. I kept holding on. Even I heard, people saying, "Root, go." I didn't let go. I was holding on because I could not believe that this was actually happening to me. So this is the pain, and it stands for anything that you're holding on that is unnecessary. So it doesn't make sense if you realize that holding on to a business relationship that is constantly creating a challenge for you. Why are you doing this? So maybe create a picture for you where you actually are in pain, like I was there swallowing all of that salt water, and,
Yes.
You said, why do you hold on? When naturally your life, your circumstance shows you that maybe you should let go. Same with relationships.
What comes to mind as I hear you say that, my interpretation of your words are that we need, number one, to have awareness of even the possibility that there may be attachments that are preventing us from moving forward, or preventing us from stepping into all of who we can be. So it starts with the awareness. And then the next step is to have the willingness to, I'll say, go within and start investigating where some of these emotional entanglements might be that are preventing us or influencing us in a negative way. And then what I go so far as to say is having a conversation with that emotion, that situation, and say, what do I need to let go of here?
Yeah. And something, Susan, the letting go is always, whenever you resist something, because we very often resist the thing that we want to push it away, we want to push it out of our, because it hurts, right? So why would you want to sit there and experience pain over and over and over again? So we push it away, we resist it, we say, oh, you know, I need to let go of it. But you don't really let go of it in that way. You need to become very aware that you are actually clinging to it, because what you resist persists, right?
Yeah.
So for example, I thought this would never happen to me anymore after it happened to me so many times in the last decades, that I was taken advantage of somebody who promised, you know, to deliver something, and that wasn't so. And when I had to pay in advance for the service, and it was a large amount, it was, you know, $8,000, I think. I like to do this with American Express, because there is a certain coverage or a certain security in that if something goes wrong. But no, this person was in the UK, and I needed to send the money into her bank account, which I was hesitant, so that should have told me something. So I had an intuition, but I did it, and it turned out that it was a total waste of money. It was horrible. Nothing happened. So, and this was something that I thought would not happen to me anymore. So I felt I could have really beaten myself up. They say, so stupid, you know, so whatever. And I could have started a fight with this person about trying to get my money back or something back. And I decided not to do anything like this. I actually let go of the person, of that part of me that wanted, not revenge, but that wanted justice. And it wanted to also show the other person, you know, how unethical or whatever you have been. And then I said, okay, what does it bring me? What is the benefit to me in the end after going through all of this? I know it will be heart-wrenching. This will be very unpleasant. It will be it will be painful.
Yes.
And I decided to totally let it go. And I don't even, when it comes up in my mind, I have no feeling about it. I just dropped it. Do you know something? It is so easy. You see, whatever, sometimes the easy things that make a lot of sense are difficult to do, even though they are easy. Like, okay, so I have something in my hand here. I'm holding on to this, right? I know this is hurting me if I, you know, hold on and squeeze, and I shouldn't really hold on to it anymore. So what do? I turn over my hand, right? I drop it. It's gone. It is naturally gone. But do you know something? When it comes to all of these things that we hold on to, we don't know, but we pick it up again. We look for it, we pick it up again. And so awareness.
That's a great example. Thank you for sharing that, because what it reminds me of is, I've posted about this in the past, that there's a piece of me that is addicted to struggle. And it's because one of the early belief systems that was what was instilled in me by my parents, that if it's easy and effortless, then it's not important. That for something to be of value, you have to work hard, there needs to be struggle, there needs to be effort. And so I integrated that message very well and became, as I said, addicted to struggle. So even to this day, the reminder that you just shared with us about sometimes what is so easy for us to do is the thing we need to do. Just because it's easy doesn't mean that it isn't difficult. That's very different.
Well,
However,
it is also easy not to do whatever is.
Of course, because we have been engaged in this for years, in my case, decades, when I finally became aware of this. So this is very helpful, and I love the image of you just turning your hand over and letting it go, and visualizing perhaps what that item is in our hand, that pain, that anguish, because we can, for me, I'll have a particular instance that I'm remembering from my childhood that I thought that I had dealt with years ago through therapy and energy work, and apparently not, because it has come up once again. But what I can do is look at that pain in my hand and say, this is a pain. Do I want to continue to carry the pain? Or do I want to release the pain and just be uncomfortable with knowing that I've released it? Because it is such a part of me, I know there's going to be some discomfort when I let it go. And the component that lets it go and is uncomfortable, I think, to your point, then reaches down to pick it up again because it is comfortable, because we are familiar with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's because it's part of your story. It's part you used to identify yourself in a way with that. And keeping it in place means, what is so difficult to really let go of something is that we really change something drastically within us. We are creating a total void, something space.
Yes.
But what is so easy for in the animal kingdom, in nature, even with trees, they blossom, they create the fruit, and then they drop it, they let it go, right? They don't hold on to it because, but we are holding on to everything that we have experienced because, oh my God, if I let it go, then it's almost as if we are losing part of ourselves. That part, but you want to lose that part that is clinging to that. That's what freedom is. People really don't understand what freedom is. They just say, oh, I need to work for my freedom. No, you are naturally free. There is no work to do. You have to let go.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And one question I want to ask you that's in keeping with the conversation earlier about working with women over 50 is what do you believe is the greatest tragedy for aging women in business and in life?
The greatest tragedy is that they believe that their life has come to an end, that they don't have the ability to create something totally new, that now they are not, they don't have the worthiness, or they are not as lovable or attractive anymore, and so that they are on their way out of the vibrancy of life. And the actual contrary is true. What the truth is that their life experience that no 20 or 30-year-old has, together with the with everything that is available to us today, a totally new life can be created. And this can be done within a situation, because it's an internal process. You know, we always look at outside, at what is happening outside of ourselves. Well, you know, and this is what I wanted to, the second step in this whole awareness is really that we live in concepts, right? We live a conceptual life. We are born in a certain society and belief system, and there are all these concepts that that we put in place, or they are put in place for us.
That's right.
That we need to align ourselves with or follow it, so that we know who we are, or that we are acceptable, or fill the expectations that either we or our surroundings is putting on us.
Yes.
And so, again, the realization that, is this a concept, and why do I keep this in place? Who told me so? Is it true? You know, these questions you have to ask yourself, And so it's almost like how I work with my clients. We are kind of peeling, like you peel an onion, you know, we are peeling layers off. We say, okay, why do I believe this? Why am I clinging to this? So we just get to the center of that untamed, unapologetic, magnificent being that is only covered up with all of these thoughts and limiting beliefs and concepts. And you know, it's almost like a mirror that is soiled by life. But it's time to polish it clean again. And coming back to the woman over 50, why I am so passionate about helping the woman in around that age and also older. Sometimes they're younger, but if they, you know, because sometimes it is a good thing to start as early as possible to prepare for that second part of life. What I tell my clients is that there is no limit and there is nothing that you cannot do if you really want it. But then you have to go back to kind of your original self. What fired you up when you were little? What are the gifts that you're carrying inside of you that you came even maybe into this lifetime with, that were never realized because, yeah, you had to be the perfect daughter, the perfect student in school, then you better find the perfect job or marry the perfect man, be the perfect mother. I mean, we women are wearing so many hats that by the age of 50, we have fulfilled all of these identities, we played all of those roles. So all of a sudden it's so, who am I?
What a beautiful question to ask. Who am I? And freedom, to me, that is the freedom of accepting all of who we are and sharing our uniqueness and those gifts with the world. That's, to me, that is freedom.
Yes, it is.
So in the, excuse me, go ahead.
No, I mean, stepping into that, you just know it when you are in alignment with life, with who you are. And you can take off the masks, but it is scary. Let me tell you, it's not something that, oh yes, it's such a romantic and beautiful vision. It takes work to let go. It takes work to undo the stuff and to give birth to yourself. But the reward, unbelievable.
So please, in the few minutes that we have remaining, Angelika, tell us the free gift that you have for our viewers today and other opportunities that they may have to be able to take advantage and work with you.
Well, I have, of course, a retreat coming up in February here in the Bahamas, and for everybody who lives in a colder spot, this will be not only is it what you would experience in the 5 days of letting go, actually starting the process of letting go and peeling the onion and burning the masks and stepping into your unapologetic, magnificent self. But it's also in a place where it's just warm and beautiful at the ocean. I'm on Bahama Island. I live in the Bahamas. So I know what the environment to be taken out of the busy and hectic place of your surrounding and be totally in a place of pristine beauty and away from home, where you can start to come back to your original self. It is really the beauty of who you really are. So this is an invitation that I have, and I also have a free gift. I don't know. Will you post the links?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the links will be there. I'm also starting something that I've never done before, a coaching, a year-long coaching, 15-minute, get it done, very focused, intense on something that you want to change. Usually my clients pay $12,000 per year for coaching with me. And I do this one-on-one, but not an hour, 15-minute, unlimited, for under $1,000. That is the greatest gift that I will ever, because I am passionate about helping as many women as possible. I don't have a big amount of clients that I can take on for that, but I have 10 spots open for that for next year, starting in December, January, actually, yes.
Which is a great way to start the year, isn't it? With that sense of opportunity and curiosity of what might be discovered, and the unveiling of you and your clients as they go through this process with you. I find that very inspiring.
And you know, the amazing thing is that sometimes you don't need a full hour of coaching. Sometimes it's just this little thing that came up.
Right.
You need to just have a coaching on this one little thing. And that's why I say 15 minutes unlimited, which means you could have me every day. But the only thing is you have to do your homework. You decide on what you need to do in order to, you know, to schedule your next 15 minutes with me.
Yes, and move forward.
Yes, but the whole year gives you so much time to actually create the change that you need.
Well, that's wonderful and so inspiring, Angelika. Thank you so much for your time today. Unfortunately, we need to bring this to a close. It feels like you and I can continue to talk for hours. And I will certainly post the links above the video for you to learn more about Angelika's retreat in the Bahamas in February, also her year-long program, and certainly her free gift for all of our viewers and members. So thank you for your time, Angelika. Do you have any parting thoughts that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Dance to your own music. Dance in your own light. You are the most precious gift to yourself and to the world. There is nobody like you. You are totally unique. And this life is for you to live to the fullest.
That just gives me chills.
That's good.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you for your time today, for sharing your wisdom and your experience with us of how we can become unapologetic, untamed, and the magnificent women that we are.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next week for another edition of Fabulous Feature Friday. This is Susan Bach saying thank you for being who you are and for sharing your gifts with the world. Thank you, Angelika.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Bye for now.